These two wells in Enid, Oklahoma are only hundreds of feet apart. This well has been drilled by W.T. Massey. He got a lease to this land last month after the state Supreme Court upheld a Corporation Commission ruling. The ruling changed the spacing of wells on 88 sections of land covering more than 56,000 acres. Each section has 640 acres, and until the ruling there could be only one well on a section. Now the drilling rights in each section have been changed. New leases can be sold to allow drilling in every quarter of every section. That angers companies like Union, Texas, which has this well next to Massey's well. The Union, Texas lease dates back to the 1960s. The dispute between old leaseholders like Union, Texas, and new leaseholders like Massey could be duplicated in all 88 sections.
How much is involved in this controversy? Well, counting drilling costs, leasehold costs, potential production, and service work, a conservative estimate is millions of dollars. And before it's over, more than $1 billion could be involved.
Now, who is all this most unfair to? The old leaseholders or the new leaseholders? The old leaseholders say they paid for those leases a long time ago, and they shouldn't be taken from them. But one landman says the new leaseholders can argue the ruling is fair, because the old leaseholders haven't done all they should have to make the land productive.
It's fair because there is more production down there to be pulled out of the ground, and it's not being produced and drilled on like it should have been in the past.
Both sides do agree on one thing. With all that's involved, the final decision will have to come from the courts. Bill Ross, Action 4 in Enid.
And drilled on like it should have been in the past. So I think it's fair by having the additional production. It's needed, especially those three landholders in the quarter, or the mineral holders in that section that have not been receiving all that there is down there.
Thing is certain. With all that's involved, the final decisions will be made by the courts. Bill Ross, Action 4 in Enid.
Oklahoma farmers don't have many alternatives than wheat. We grow some cotton, and down in the southwestern counties, those wheat farmers that didn't get a wheat crop would have the alternative of going to cotton. Another alternative is milo or sorghum grain, but then there's just so much of a market for that crop. There wouldn't.
Some of Oklahoma City's most recently built sewage treatment plants have been designed by the same engineer. There has been a question raised about whether or not former Oklahoma City Councilman Bill Bishop arranged for Fred Spitz's company to design the sewage plant. Bishop told Action 4 that's the craziest thing he's ever heard of, adding he in no way influenced the council's decision.
And of course, there's no connection between Bill Bishop and any of Mr. Spitz's companies. It's no secret to a lot of people that, yes, Fred Spitz and our personal friends. I'm personal friends with, I could elaborate on probably 15 or 20 or 30 other professional people, other just common ordinary citizens that's never been involved in city government or any type of politics.
There have been several federal agencies looking at the records for Spitz's engineering company. Spitz says there's nothing unusual about the probes and that it has nothing to do with Bishop.
In the contracts that we have, we agree in advance to allow the agencies to come in and audit our books. When I look up my records for the last 5 years, we find that as many as 12 or 14 different agencies have been in to examine our books. That's not a normal thing for us, is that we have in our contracts with all the cities in the state of Oklahoma that gives the agencies that right to come in and audit our books. So if someone would hear that an agency came in to audit our books, they might misunderstand what that means. That means that they come in to look and see what's going on, and that is the basis of which our business is based on.
Bishop thinks the publisher of the newspaper doesn't want to see him back in City Hall. He feels the article was to hurt his chances of running for mayor next spring. Only thing is, Bishop says he wouldn't want the job of mayor and has no intention of seeking the office. Ed Stewart, Action 4.
This house under construction looks just like any other unfinished house. But this house is different than most contractor-built homes. A quick look inside reveals this is not your typical construction crew. 5 families have banded together to help each other build 5 new houses. It's akin to the old-fashioned barn raising. Each family supplies 700 hours of labor and $25,000. In return, they get a new home. Pam Adamson is putting in 700 hours worth of work so that her crippled grandparents can live the rest of their lives in comfort.
So it's going to allow them running water, stuff that they've never had. It will allow them to live the rest of their lives in comfort. That's the main thing.
The Little Dixie Community Action Project has helped 330 families build their own homes. The agency supplies the technical expertise. The families supply the labor. The government has never had to repossess one of these houses. It seems that when you put 700 hours of your blood and sweat into your home, you appreciate it a lot more. Scott Wallace, Action 4 in Hugo.
It was something that was quite a disappointment to all of us. It was a chance to kind of be a part of a celebration and get back a little bit of the self-esteem that we have been missing or without for quite a while. To some of the guys, it's quite a devastation. It might sound, there again, sound a little strange, but it was kind of hard to take for a lot of. It just seems like it was kind of, the whole thing was just a loss. And of course, I guess maybe we can try next year.
Everybody get about 5-10 foot apart, and then we'll just start going across. Going east, and everybody keep going east, not wander off north and south, just keep in a straight line going east.
The Logan County Sheriff's Department called in help after their own search of the area turned up no signs of 92-year-old Velma McElroy. Officers from several surrounding communities and about 24 volunteers and neighbors joined in to try to help find answers that have eluded police. The woman, on the right in this picture, was discovered missing late Friday when her son went to visit. Police say mail in the post box indicates she may have been gone since at least Wednesday.
We're trying to make a last effort to do an all-out search and find out if she's still around here or not, and then determine at the end of that, we'll determine which way we're going to go from there.
Found a leaf up here, a couple of little spots up here. It looks like some blood. About a week old, maybe a little less. Kind of look around in there real good, see if you can spot anything.
The search turned up no concrete clues of Velma McElroy's whereabouts. Searchers did find a leaf with what police believe may be blood on it, but tests will have to determine whether or not the substance is blood or if it belongs to the missing woman. For now, searchers have gone home for the night, leaving police with no clear picture of what has happened to the missing woman or where they should look next. Charles Schnitzer, Action 4 in Guthrie, Oklahoma.
2nd, they asked for a meeting with me, which we made the 3rd. And in my meeting with them, we're just not growing at the rate that under the formula we projected. And that's unfortunate, but we can tough it. And by just tightening the belts, we'll go through this period of time. In the meantime, we'll be looking at the appropriate things that we should do to continue to strengthen the economy of the state.
Names that are being read are of men who died for freedom just as surely as any other men that have ever died in combat for this country. The tragedy was that they were asked to give their lives for a cause that our country was unwilling to win.
Some of the veterans, especially the ones from Vietnam, have, instead of coming back to a hero's welcome, which they so deserve, they came back and were treated like outcasts, a lot of them.
The scene was a confused tangle of wood when fire and rescue units arrived just after 10:30 this morning. Workers from the Caston Lumber Company and 2 electrical workers were in the middle of constructing a new building, replacing one that had been destroyed by a September fire. High winds had hampered their work, though, and the men were trying to secure the frame when it gave way to the pressure of the wind.
He said a large gust of wind caught the structure and started a domino effect, and the entire building collapsed on them.
He's taking a head count, make sure all everybody's accounted for.
One man was trapped in the rubble for about half an hour before rescuers could free him. All 6 of the men working on the building were taken to area hospitals. 4 of them have been treated and released by early afternoon. 25-year-old William Mahoney is in good condition at Baptist Hospital, and 21-year-old Lenny Crawford is in good condition at Presbyterian Hospital, both with leg injuries. Charles Schnitzer, Action 4, at the Caston Lumber Company.
Interfere.
Health insurance is becoming, because of the rising
According to them, it might. It may be a situation in which they receive salary increases or they receive health insurance benefits. It may not be a situation as it was last year or the year before, when we discussed the possibility of having a $2,000 salary increase and the possibility of having a health insurance program. I think we're trying to just prepare everybody for that possibility.
About 6 months ago, with interest rates peaking at 18%, the average American family that made about $32,000 a year couldn't afford this new $65,000 home. But today, with interest rates about 12%, that same family could afford this new home. As interest rates go down, your buying power goes up. And because of that fact, many middle-income Americans are seeking professional financial advice. You've seen their commercials. When the brokers at this E.F. Hutton office talk, financial giants listen. But this company and several other brokerage firms have diversified. They're going after a new clientele, middle-income Americans, people in the $25,000 to $40,000 a year range. Traditionally, E.F. Hutton brokers did not develop financial plans for customers that made under $100,000 a year. But Middle America's buying power is becoming a stronger voice in this country's economy, and E.F. Hutton believes it's now feasible to manage their money too.
We're still going to pursue the incomes of those individuals that are very wealthy. It's just that E.F. Hutton foresaw a need for those individuals that make between, say, $25,000 and $65,000 a year to do some long-term financial planning.
Financial planning won't cost you that much. E.F. Hutton will develop a plan tailor-made to your financial needs for about $100. The company hopes to expand many more of their services now that middle-income families are listening too. Kurt Autry, Action 4.
You're doing fine, Oklahoma, Oklahoma, O-K-L-A-H, Oklahoma, okay.
I've had no discussion with any candidate personally. I have had inquiry made of me by people who are interested in the national politics, but I don't take it seriously.
You know, they first started out with the 1040, and then they included the 1040A, and with the new regime, the present commissioner was looking at a way to simplify the 1040A. And I assume that it's just through the years that different people looking at this at a different light, they just finally have come up with a simple form.
Annually, gun sales in Oklahoma and around the nation are on the increase. The tight economy and the escalating crime rate are the two reasons most commonly cited for the increase in gun sales for home protection. Small pistols are the big seller for people interested in home protection. On the average, Oklahomans are spending from $150 to $200 on small handguns. 1982 statistics are not yet available, but in Oklahoma City last year, more than 14,000 requests for gun permits were made. According to Hal Kane, a gun dealer, buyers want guns for protection and recreation.
Definitely sporting, as far as a general trend goes, they're definitely buying more sporting arms than they are short barrel home protection type things.
At least in Oklahoma, gun sales statistics show more firearms are sold for hunting than protection. Debbie Mash, Action 4.
The first of these measures involves advance notification of all United States and Soviet test launches of intercontinental ballistic missiles. We will also seek Soviet agreement on notification of all sea-launched ballistic missiles, as well as intermediate-range land-based ballistic missiles of the type we're currently negotiating. This would remove surprise and uncertainty at the sudden appearance of such.
Thanksgiving is traditionally a time to feast, and big meals mean big business for grocers. Consumers spend record dollars at the grocery store during November. This year's Thanksgiving feast is gobbling up more of your shopping dollar. The biggest variance is in turkeys. Shoppers are selecting from up to 10 different types of birds, such as stuffed, butter-basted, and smoked. This year's turkey ranges from 49 to 89 cents a pound.
The thrifty shopper can pick the items and really save money on yams, on related items, the bread items. They're cheaper.
This year's Thanksgiving feast won't take most cooks as long to prepare. Unruh says today's shoppers are taking advantage of quick mix dressings and frozen pies. Pumpkin pie is the largest per-serving bite out of your Thanksgiving dinner food budget. Per person, the pie costs about 50 cents. If you're planning on a small group for Thanksgiving dinner, you're in luck. On the average, this year's traditional Turkey Day feast costs $1.60 per person. Debbie Mash, Action 4.
In the press, it's dated November 24, 1982, and it says, effective midnight, I will be retiring as director of the OBNDD, this after 10 years and 5 months service in drug law enforcement and 12 years law enforcement total. After a 2 months vacation, I will be returning to the private business sector and to further my education. I greatly appreciate the patience and sacrifices that my family and friends have given to me during my law enforcement career. We have made great strides and accomplishments in 10.5 years of fighting drugs in Oklahoma. I am happy to have been a part of that. I hope and trust the agency will continue to lead the battle against drugs and crime in our state. I only regret that most of my time was spent waging that battle in person instead of behind my desk. I credit much of our success to the media for their relentless efforts in exposing the real problems about drugs and drug abuse. I know they will continue their effort. I am looking forward to becoming a private citizen again. Sincerely, Warren Henderson.
And because they have a short lifespan, from 3 to 5 days, we try to stock up ahead of a holiday weekend, and we've got a 4-day weekend coming up with Thanksgiving tomorrow, so we're trying to collect extra blood today to have these platelets on hand.
You're going to have a great time trying to get home, buddy.
We'll let him get a shot of an entry. You haven't been digging in the snow? Get back here. I'm in a warm part.
Their fans are, I promise you, Oklahoma fans are 1,000% better than Nebraska. Promise you. I'm proud of them. That bunch up there are nuts.
You got trampled there at the very end of the game on national television.
I got a guy just jerked me to the... Tom Osborne had to pull me up, and I got a buddy that drop kicked one right in the mouth, and I hope he broke his jaw.
There probably will be little controversy, and according to Oklahoma Congressman Jim Jones, few surprises. Don Nichols feels the same way, but Nichols hopes the Republicans can pass several social issues in the next Congress.
I would hope we could do a couple things different next year. One, have it come up earlier in the session so you don't have the time frame of knowing that you're going to be out of session in a week, and that really encourages a filibuster if they know that there's no end to it.
That fall into the category of having filed their protest properly. I don't know to what extent that is.
But they are in a very tough situation. They are now seeing an incarceration rate that exceeds 180 inmates a week. That is very clearly taxing the ability of the individuals in the various institutions to feed and house and clothe, and I think that is one of the tough problems the legislature will have to come to grips with very early in the session.
past, Washington has been a source of a lot of support for social programs. At the present time, with the economy in a serious recession, Washington is pulling back. So I'm not sure we can expect a lot of new money to come to the programs from Washington. We're also caught in a kind of a bind because our state revenues are dropping off, so this isn't exactly a place season for the welfare department.